Hello everyone, this is Terrell here from Terrell Game Vlogs. So I remember getting a request for a particular type of video a while ago, which the video was based on how do you deal with girls who cheat or how do you keep a stable relationship. That was the whole point of the video. And I decided the best way to kind of talk about this is to give my experience. Now I've never been cheated on, but in terms of keeping stable relationships, that is something I can talk about. So, and I think I may have told this story before, but let's go ahead and talk about it, shall we? So, I was dating a girl, I think around my early years in college, like it was probably like my first or second year in college. And I had met her through work. She had came in, this is when I was working at the library as like a student. She had came in and one of my coworkers was like, man, Terrell, I never see you with any type of girl. You don't think any girls are cute? And I'm like, I think girls are cute. And it's like, oh, pick one out right now. Pick one out. And I picked out this girl. She was pretty slim, pretty cute. We'll just call her name Trish for right now. So I thought Trish was pretty cute. And he was like, oh, really? And I was like, yeah, she's pretty cute. He's like, go talk to her. I was like, nah, I'm good. He said, nah, you know, if you weren't working, you totally go talk to her. I said, yeah. But I am working, so I'm not going to go talk to her. And what did he decide to do? Oh, he ran up and grabbed her and said, hey, my friend thinks you cute. And I'm like, oh, shit. Well, at this point in time, he's already fucked me over. So I'm not gonna try to save face here and be like, all right, fine. And I started talking to her, and we started talking. I think we went out on a few dates, and then eventually we started dating. We dated for about a year, but when our relationship kind of got fucked up was during the time where I felt, and here's the first rule. If you with a girl and the girl to you seems off in the beginning, that shit doesn't change. It just gets worse over time. Because the one thing that kept sticking out in my mind when I was with her is that I thought she was kind of slow and she wasn't like, and she was nice, but she was just kind of slow. Like I felt like we ended up repeating conversations a lot because she acted like she never fucking remembered anything. That was automatically a bad sign, but you know, it's that type of shit where you're comfortable in the situation and you don't want to rock the boat yourself. Therefore, you try to just kind of put up with the bullshit. That's the first fucking rule. Don't ever put up with the bullshit. So anyways, we had been dating for a while, and what ended up happening is on like I think Valentine's Day was the day I like innately realized there was a fucking problem because she didn't have a car. She didn't have a car. She couldn't drive. So every time we go out, I had to go pick her up and go drop her back off. And then it'd also be a situation where she'd be babysitting her siblings when she shouldn't have been. That should have been her parents' jobs. But there's a whole bunch of other bullshit. Because I guess I also didn't mention, I think she was like a year or two younger than me. Yeah. Yeah, no, she was like a year younger than me. So I was like 19, she was like 18. So anyways, Valentine's Day, I said, fuck it. I bought like a bear and some candies and shit. Nice gesture. I said, we should go out to eat. And I just remember her not doing anything. And some of you would say, oh, that's petty. You gonna really be salty about her not doing anything for Valentine's Day. It wasn't even like a simple, like, she didn't buy me anything. It was like, she barely acknowledged that it was a holiday and that something had happened. And like she seemed so disinterested. And I just remember everything blowing up to a point where I was like, I was fucking done. And the one thing I've learned about me, and you may learn about me, is that I'm kind of harsh when I'm ticked off. And I just remember it was that was the start of it, and it just built over like that next month and a half. And I was like, you know what, fuck it. So I called her on the phone one night, and I was like, look, it seems like you have other things and other people on your mind. She wasn't cheating on me. I know that much, but I know she wasn't as interested as she liked to pretend like she was. Or she just didn't seem like she was interested at all. It's like, look, you seem to have other people and other things in your mind. You don't seem to really give a damn half the time. And I said, fuck it. I broke it off with her. And she obviously, her response was kind of like something on the lines like, really? You really gonna do that because of da-da-da? I said, no, it's because you don't seem interested, like, at all. You seem like you have like zero fucks to give. And when we talk, every time we have a conversation, it seems like you forget it because I'll bring it up. Sometimes I actually would test it out on certain nights to see if she would remember the conversation, and she wouldn't. So I have to readdress. And then on top of that, every time we would talk, half of the conversations would be her asking me to do shit for her. And I'm like, all right, I think we're past the point in which this can be a thing anymore. I said, look, and this is actually pretty dickish, although I kind of wish I had stuck to it when I said it. I remember we broke up over the phone that night, and the last thing I had told her was that, look, is there anything you need to say to me? Because if there is, because this is the last time we're going to talk. Like straight up, I said, we are not talking after this. I did keep her number in my phone, though, but I didn't innately interact with her at all after that point. She goes, I was like, and she was like, wow, you going to cut me off? I said, yeah. Because after this point, I'm not trying to have you as a friend. So you weren't even willing to consider it? I said, no. Because I knew if I didn't like you as a dating partner, and considering all the problems you have, or problems that even friends would have, dating wasn't going to, being a friend wasn't going to really cut it for me. So I said, no. So she had nothing else to say. We stopped talking. And then I believe it was like a few months later, she called me on the phone, during the summer, saying, are you still mad? And I was like, and obviously I reflected at that point and just said, okay, that was kind of dickish. I said, fine, we can be friends. That's it. And we were friends. She didn't really text me for shit, and she didn't call me all the time or none of that other shit. We were pretty neutral. And she had asked me, I think it was like 3 months later after that, I think it was around the summer, where she asked me, she said, hey, look, I got this part-time job at the movie theater near where you work. If I paid you for gas, would you drive me? Now, granted, she had a boyfriend at the time that she had kind of talked to me about. Like, she didn't talk to me, like, in heavy detail, but it was mentioned that she had a boyfriend. I had met the dude. The dude was all right. I'm not going to really say nothing about him. He was just kind of okay. Now, the first question that came in my mind was like, wait, why didn't you ask your boyfriend to take you? And she's like, oh, me and him having some problems right now. I said, okay. Obviously, I'm not gonna dwell into it because when I do that, that means I'm willing to get involved in the drama, and I'm not getting caught up in some bullshit just because they having problems. That's just the way I'm handling this. So I did her the favor because she was paying me gas, and I didn't really care. And I just remember this one particular time where I had dropped her off, and she was like stressed out because her family situation wasn't any better. The boyfriend situation was pretty bad. And all of a sudden, she started fucking being like, it's like, do you ever miss it? And I was like, miss what? Like, us. And I said, maybe certain aspects of it, but not as a whole. She's like, so would you ever think about it? And I'm like, Trish, I'm not thinking about that, if that's what you're referring to. I don't think you're a bad person. I just don't think we work well together. This was also me lying, and what I really mean to say is that I just didn't... I'm not going to say that. Let's just say that the way I was really feeling and my real reasoning, I did not tell her. I just told her a generalized reason because sometimes you just don't want to be a dick all the fucking time. That's just me. That was her first little hint that she wanted to get back together. And then I found out later on she had broke up with the dude like a few weeks later. And then I actually remember this day clearly because I actually had her boyfriend's phone number. Don't ask me how. It was a very weird situation. I don't actually remember the full-on situation of how I got his number. But she had called me when I was getting out of class. I took morning classes, and I was getting out around like 9 or 10, and I get this phone call from him, and he's like, hey, have you seen Trish? And I'm like, no. Why? And he's like, because I can't find her. I said, aren't you guys broken up? I was like, yeah. I'm like, nah, she ain't with me, dude. I just got out of class. I'm not even at home right now. He says, all right, then. So I thought that was weird. Like, okay, so your boyfriend's looking for you, and he calls me. And then I get a call from her like 10 minutes later going, hey. And I'm like, oh, no, here we go. And there was this whole thing about her family. I'm not gonna go through it, but let's just say her family was not originally from where we live. They were moving back, but she didn't want to move back because it would have fucked up her school life. But I mean, her school situation. So it was like, pretty much the short version is she wanted to get back with me so she could move in with me so I can support her. That's the short version. I'm not going through everything, but that's the short version. And I was like, and obviously, as some of you know, I live with my parents. Even if I had agreed to it, which I wasn't going to begin with, I wasn't going to let that shit happen. First thing in my mind, my mom would have asked me, is like, you mean this bitch that you were dating for a year and then you broke up with and then you were still talking to as a friend, all of a sudden wants to be your girlfriend again when it's convenient because of the... Like, that shit just sounds suspicious off jump. And it's because women will try to use you. Well, that was that day, and I said, I'm not doing that. I said, I couldn't if I wanted to. And she said, you wouldn't even reconsider? I said, even if you were having this problem and you were just talking about getting back together in terms of dating, wouldn't do it. Because I usually have a fucking policy. If I broke up with you for a reason, I'm probably not gonna get back with you. Like there ain't no you cheat on me and then we fucking start over again. We ain't doing none of that. So they no, there ain't no chance in hell we get back together. Which was true. I still stick by that decision to this day. Fuck no. Fuck no. So she was mad, she hung up the phone, and I think a few hours went by and her boyfriend called me again, and I was like, and he was like, it's like, have you talked to her? And I said, yeah, I talked to her. She said something about how she wanted to stay here, but her family didn't want to stay here, so she had to figure out something to do. It's like, well, man, you need to, it's like, if you, it's like, well, she kind of gone missing. And I'm like, oh, fuck. And no bullshit, and this is not a lie. When she went missing, I never heard from her again. I never heard from her or her boyfriend again. That's not a joke. That's the reason why that day sticks out in my mind. Because that was the last time I heard from either one of them. Period. I don't know what the fuck happened. I don't know if she went back home or not. Because the bitch was gone. I'm not calling her a bitch as a derogatory term. Just saying that as a generalized term. But she was gone. I never saw her again. I never saw her again after that. I have no idea what happened with her in that family situation. I just know the last time we talked, she was going to pretty much trying to get with me to move into my house, to stay here in this state. It didn't work out, and I don't know if she moved back or not. I actually remember, I think I went by her house once, but because I never really met her parents or family members like that, I didn't really want to just walk in her house or even go up there and ask. But just never saw her again. And at that point, we weren't dating anymore, so there was no point. But the moral of that story is more so based around, if you want to keep a girl, you need to make sure the girl's worth keeping in the first place. If the girl's worth keeping, keep an open dialogue. Make sure you guys are always talking. Because to me, the biggest problem that happened in that particular relationship is that there was no open dialogue. Where we would try to fucking talk, and all of a sudden she would be busy with school or some other shit, and we never really sat down and talked about anything. The only times we ever talked is if we hung out and did some shit. She never wanted to say anything, and it was partially because I didn't bring it up when we were out either. It wasn't like just her fault. It was my fault for just not bringing it up and talking about the complaints I had early on. If you got issues, bring that shit up as soon as possible. Because the more you sit on it and wait on it, the worse it'll fucking get. You'll dwell on it, and it'll come back and bite you in the ass. Because it'll probably be one of the reasons why you guys break up in the first place. Because you didn't fucking just talk about it. And then I think, if anything, I don't feel like it would have changed much for her in my situation. But I'm just saying, if you want to keep the girl or guy that you're interested in, maintain an open dialogue. Always talk about shit. Because the moment you start hiding shit and start covering your feelings and start giving some fucking start compromising what you are and what you have and what you want for that person, you've automatically going to lose. You're going to lose that person in the relationship, or you're going to lose yourself in the relationship, or both, and nothing will be fucking accomplished. So if I had any advice to give, always talk. You gotta talk. You gotta bring up shit, because some people don't know what the fuck is going on until it's mentioned to them. But that's just my little story time. And I hope that is informational and helps somebody. But anyways, this has been the vlogs again for your boy Terrell. If you have any more discussion topics you want me to tackle, let me know in the comments section. Vlogs again for your boy Terrell, and I'll catch you guys later.